Hey y'all, it's Moon Thomas, your social media insurance advisor. You are officially plugged into the Big Insurance Connect. On this episode of the Big Insurance Connect, I had a real conversation with Nika of Globally Fly Travel Services. We talked about the importance of having trip protection added to all of your travel plans and why the Away From Home Assurance Protection Program is needed if you're ever more than 75 miles away from home ever. You cannot afford to leave home without watching this episode. Let's check it out. Hey, Nika, how are you?
Hi, Moon. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. Thank you for asking. I appreciate you being on today for this topic that I believe no one is even talking about here, girl. And that is the Away From Home Assurance or Protection, which also is in your line of work, travel protection, that we're going to get into because I believe that people need to know about it. So I just wanted to welcome you to the Big Insurance Connect. And everyone, this is Nika. She is with Globally Fly Travel. And let me tell you, we kind of like met on the sneak tip. Last year, one of a mutual friend of ours was getting married, and I was trying to figure out how we could surprise her for her honeymoon, and kind of like, I didn't tell a white lie. I did need to know because my 10-year wedding anniversary was coming up. Mm-hmm. So I asked her, I said, who's your travel agent that you're using? And I got in touch with you, Nika, and I was trying to figure out something for my 10-year wedding anniversary as get a little gift going for her. So we pulled that off, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
And unfortunately for me, my husband, he had like some health challenges and we weren't able to do the trip that we were, looking to plan. But that also brings us back to this conversation that we're having today. And it's about when you are traveling or you are away from home, what happens if the unexpected happens? And I'm an insurance agent. So, I have to bring these topics up. And I just thought that it would be a great idea to have a travel agent on to get a different perspective as well, because it's kind of like, two different topics, but the same outcomes here. So first of all, let us know, from your perspective, when people are planning for, a special occasion or a trip or something like that, I mean, does this come up about, getting trip insurance?
Typically, no. And as an agent, my responsibility, of course, is to inform and to best prepare my clients for travel. And when I think about travel, I'm always thinking about what could go wrong. And in that, that's why I kind of package in the travel protection, which is for trip cancellation, medical expenses while you're there. It does cover, trip interruption. And most people, when they get it, they're like, okay, well, I'm on a budget. So can I just remove this? And I try to just make it about the what ifs. We didn't expect COVID to happen. And for people who had trips lined up during that time, a lot of them were fortunate enough to have credits. But for those that didn't, you simply lost, it was a loss. And so, I always say that it's better to be prepared than to go into a situation and just not have any layer of protection. So I definitely advocate for travel insurance for the what ifs. And a lot of times people don't think about what if something happens to me seriously that, what will, they think about, oh, I already have life insurance in the States, or I already have medical insurance. But when you really dig through the surface and understand what it is to be in another country and how that applies, I think that's where the away from home protection really does come into play as another layer of protection while you're traveling. And it's not just in this particular travel situation, but for all travel. So I definitely advocate that for my clients. And I think it's important for everyone to think about being more proactive versus reactive.
Yeah, I feel like you came up with two really important points here. The first part was about how your life insurance and your health insurance may work in the States, or you may already have that. But, there's also a process with that. So, you think about something happening to you, and whether you're international or not, but there's a claims process.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
Yep.
This is not an immediate, like, I'm here right now with a need and they're going to send me XYZ because I had this happen to me. So there's a process, and there's unfortunately sometimes there's a period of time where, if even the inevitable happened and someone passed away while on a vacation or just away from home, literally there's a daily storage fee, there's a mileage charge, there could be a transportation cost. Like, people have to get flown back, deceased, and those are costs that actually are incurred by the family. And unfortunately, they can't wait to be paid. So,
right.
We're kind of talking about two different things here, but the same. So the first thing is that whenever you're planning a trip with Nika, she is going to just basically make sure that you checked off all the boxes with what you've planned, because no one's expecting anything to happen. Like, this is you going on a trip, you want to have a great time. Like, I know we have some like a family cruise that's planned right now, and we're literally everybody's going with great expectations, but you have to also be, like you said, proactive, worst case scenario, right? And that is going to be if you get sick or you get hurt, right? You didn't die, but you got sick or you got hurt and you're not at home.
Right.
What about your health? What about your medical treatment? What about, your transportation back? A lot of people go on cruises. They don't need a passport to be on the cruise, but if something happens to you, you do need a passport to be able to fly back home or to get transported back. Is that correct?
Yes, because you're basically the cruise, it allows you to use that your birth certificate and so forth, but to travel by air, then yes, you would need your passport.
Exactly.
So
in that instance, you need to have that additional level of coverage that is for that trip.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's one part. But then what I am here to really spread some awareness about is the away from home assurance. That is literally if you are more than 75 miles away from home, regardless of the reason. It's not just for a trip specifically. It could be forever, wherever. It could be international. It could be in your same state, but you're 75 miles away. I live in Georgia, and you can be in Atlanta and be 75 miles away from home. and literally, this is a real thing. People don't always, pass away at home, right? So this could be via an accident. It could be natural causes. It could be on a vacation. It could just be while you're visiting someone. It could be in a hospital, whatever the case may be. This is a membership that will literally give you peace of mind for your family, not to have to incur the cost of transporting you back or dealing with the red tape. So say you are international. Like, have you ever had anybody that was traveling that you know of that happened to?
Yes. So we had a family friend whose parent passed away while overseas, and I don't know all the intricacies that happened at that time, but I do know that it was a lot of red tape to get the body back to the States. And so definitely having the peace of mind that you do have some level of protection, exactly what to do, and that doesn't come with a lot of red tape as far as the claim process. Especially for a family that's going through such a difficult time. You want to make it as convenient as possible for them. So, I always say, when I give my clients their information to travel for their trip, I'm always giving them a checklist.
Yes.
And so before you go, you need to think about that checklist as well, as far as what could go wrong and how am I prepared to handle it if it does.
Yeah.
So
no,
yeah.
and that's a real thing, because, I believe that's probably the furthest thing from their mind.
Oh.
And, God forbid any of this ever happens. But the two things that we really cannot, predict is when and where something is going to happen to you. Right. And so I think that it's utterly important to have health insurance, to have life insurance, but also if you go on a trip, to have trip protection, and just in general. Now, even if you did not know before, you can also add away from home assurance protection just to cover you no matter where you are in terms of a death and transportation. So that's a whole nother, a whole nother beast that I don't think people are aware of. I just got a little bit of a stat here. It's basically 20 people involved in that process if you pass away, especially if you're in another country, because there may be a language barrier. You need, the travel arrangements. You need the receiving and the shipping funeral home to be involved, death certificates, and depending on how you die, then there could be an investigation. So that's a lot of people that if I wouldn't know where to start.
Right.
I would not know where to start.
Yeah.
So that's just the main thing that we really wanted to get across on this video today, is like, don't leave home unprotected. Don't leave home without, all of your boxes being checked. And then literally, once you have done all your due diligence, you could just go and have fun, let your hair down, and just enjoy. You're not worried about that. And then, the people who are responsible for, taking care of anything, if something happened to you, like, they know that they don't have to worry about that burden.
Exactly. I always, in those type of situations, it's always do what's best for your family. Do what's going to be more convenient for them in regards to taking care of you should something happen. It's just, one of those things that was always engraved in us as kids, like, or as we were growing up, keep your things where somebody can find it and it'll be easy for them to get to in the case something happens to you. And so when you're traveling away from home, knowing that you have that layer of protection and no one's having to hunt and find exactly what to do. That just having that extra layer of protection is beneficial for your family. So,
yeah. And you know what, I think too, the other part that, anytime that, you're talking about adding this to something, or, getting another plan or whatever, another membership, it's always like, how much is that going to cost? And people would be just really surprised how affordable it can be, because even with your travel arrangements, you can make payments, right? You can do it on an installment plan.
Yes.
Okay. So you can pay over time. And the same thing with this away from home assurance plan. I mean, you can do a one-time payment, and literally it's a one-time payment. It's for a lifetime. You don't have to pay this every year just to renew it or anything like that. It's just a one-time payment for the lifetime. Once it's paid, that's it. Or if you wanted to break that one-time payment into 3 installments or into 12 installments. So it really can be as low as $47 a month. And to me, I think it's worth it. I know I personally got the away from home assurance for myself. I travel a lot. And so it only made sense. My husband's a truck driver. I had to get it for him because he's always 75 miles away from home. And then my daughter is always with either one of us. So you can't get it for one without getting it for the other. And by having those installment options, it actually made it affordable for me to buy 3 memberships. You see what I'm saying?
Wow.
Yeah. So if you did not know about this, now you know. So if you would like to get more information or get set up on this home away Away from Home Assurance Protection membership. I can put a link into the comments or with this video, however, I can get that information out. And then also with Nika, you need to follow her on Instagram. She has, just talk about that real quick. This is the time where people are planning these vacations. Summer is in full effect. So
yes, it is.
You have where's your top place to go right now, or where you see a lot of people inquiring about?
So a lot of people are inquiring about going to Bali. And
really?
So that's top, as well as to Tulum and Italy. Those are really the top 3 right now. And I am truly about servicing the client. So definitely, if you're looking for travel and a travel experience and to be catered to, definitely look me up on Instagram at Travel with Nika. Would love to be able to be your travel agent.
If you enjoyed this episode, do me a big favor. Please like, share, and subscribe to the #1 insurance resource that has you covered from the womb to the tomb for all things health and wealth. Until the next time, I love you and I mean it.